Okay, hello everybody and welcome back to Ostranauts as we come back to the story of Micah Chambers on the Nothing Personnel Kiddo. Last time we managed to make our way onto this hulk. We've currently got the lights switched on, which is great. Unfortunately, it does seem that we just somehow destroyed our helium tank in the process, which is a little bit annoying. Thank you to the commenter who said, oh, you know, you probably could have done something with that. It was so near to destruction that when you turn the electrical on, probably something happened to it. Yeah, bit of a shame, but at least we won't go for a wild goose chase trying to find that. And yeah, what we're doing just now is we're wanting to spend a little bit of time and we're just trying to make sure that we have everything ready to head on back out. Now, what we want to make sure as well is that we've got our power turned on. We obviously have our little light source available as well that's currently on our spacesuit. And that's obviously going to help too. I'm wondering if we maybe pop this down somewhere, because obviously we have the lights that are currently working on the ship. They're sporadic at best is probably the best way to talk about them. But certainly at the moment we want to try and make sure that we're kind of gathering everything that could be quite good, which as far as I'm concerned is going to just be these canisters. These canisters are small enough that we can just kind of grab them. They're worth enough that we can kind of, you know, just take them out, put them on the dolly, and do that. Now, another big help that somebody was saying is that, oh, hey, you can like queue things up using the auto-task thing. That is true, you can do that. However, we're kind of going through such small distances that I usually find that just clutters the screen. It's kind of more of a personal thing than anything else, but that was actually a very good comment. If you're, certainly once you're kind of like out from around K-Leg and you're, you know, perhaps traveling for longer distances, say if you're, especially if you're doing sort of like trading sort of voyages between the various sort of like stations and that, then that will suddenly become a lot more useful. We'll probably grab these pumps as well. They are obviously much bigger than these N2 canisters, but they'll also be quite valuable. These O2 canisters, I imagine, will be much more valuable as well, especially if we can get ones that are reasonably full. That'll be really, really nice. But overall, I'm looking forward to see what we can get for ourselves on this ship. Now, we already grabbed the two things to do with the fusion reactor, which is great. Love to see that happening. Because it means that we should... Oh, we're actually getting the air pump. Oh, well, you know what? We said we'd get an air pump. We'll just grab that now. Meant to grab this O2 can, but it's okay. We'll just install that in a wee second. There we go. And it's just perfect for how long we can actually like stay out in the salvaging area and continue going. Now, I was having a little thought, and I mean, I quite like to kind of know what's going on, especially when you're kind of like watching a series. It's kind of how I usually play things. Is I try not to do as much editing as I can, purely because editing takes a very, very long time. There's not, unfortunately, that much time I have to do for these things. Usually, I have enough time to record things, and then that's about it. I don't really have much time. There's so much stuff going on in personal life and other projects and that I'm kind of working on. I really find that I don't really have that much time to do it, or at least as much time as I would like to do things. But I was kind of thinking that certainly with a lot of times kind of like now where we're sort of uninstalling things on the ship, we found the ship itself, and this is more just kind of like the busy work. And I wanted to see what people kind of thought, if this is something they were still kind of they still quite enjoy, because this is part of the gameplay loop. This is part of the reason why I really like this game, is that you kind of go in, you're sort of salvaging for ships, or at least we are just now. This is our current path at the very moment. Things could very easily change as things progress and we kind of find other ways of making money, but for right now this is kind of what we're doing, especially if we can find like another ship. Now, I was potentially thinking, as I was kind of saying last time, we could potentially take the ship over, but the thing is, it's just in such a poor condition that I really don't see the point for it. I think we're much better off just kind of doing what we are. Now, one thing I do want to do is especially if I drop this testudo somewhere, there we go, that'll do, is I really want to get this bay here installed if possible. So in order to do that, we are unfortunately going to have to vent this ship. Now, how can we do that? Well, I think what we'll do is we'll come over here, we'll get this door unlocked, and we're going to say on our pumps, or maybe actually force this door to be open, but what I want to do is I want to reverse the pressure here, and I just want to switch these on. There we go. At least for this one here. Now, this is going to, unfortunately, probably slightly undo the purity of this container. Yeah, we've got a tiniest little bit of nitrogen gas in there. That's fine. I can live with that. That's not that bad. Let's open up this door. Boom. There we go. and let's have a little look inside the compartment that we're in. So we should be seeing things slowly but surely. I guess because it's not a turbo pump, it's going to take a little bit of time in order to get this done. Yeah, you can see there it's taking a little bit of time. It is very slowly but surely just grabbing this air in here. Do we potentially even do this with the nitrogen, and we could potentially think about swapping out one of the pure things later on? I think we probably do. Let's just do that, and we just switch that on rather than auto. We just want to try and get things done as soon as we can. Now, also, one other thing that somebody was saying is that we have the ability to sort of see our person here by right-clicking. I don't know why everything I was doing, I was like, should I right-click that? I just didn't think to do it. My bad. That was pretty stupid. But you can right-click on your person here, and that'll actually give you sort of like an idea of, you know, who you are, give you your name, give you your character, and give you an idea of your skills. So currently, like, we know that we are currently skilled in electrical engineering, we're skilled in our EVA suits, and we get to see how well we're doing with our training for things like our other engineerings, our construction, mechanical engineering, etc., as well as giving us an example of our traits, which is very, very good. So we'll come away from that now, just as we kind of see what's happening with this compartment. I guess we could always, if we really wanted to, and it's a little bit of a waste of our air, so I really would hate to do it, because we are going to lose quite a lot for this. I guess we could just wait here and probably restore some things, so we're actually using up some of the time. So let's get to that. We'll just start repairing this just while we're waiting for things to go, because we can see that both of these alarms are actually just fine. They're saying that we're okay. Like, this compartment is still very much breathable. Yeah, slowly but surely sort of lowering down. This is where, like, having a turbo pump is very, very useful for, like, quickly depressurizing your ship. Not that this is going to happen particularly often, but it's certainly very useful. But yeah, so as one of the commenters was saying, it's like we can use the order system. We can sort of set for things to, like, repair, and we can sort of say, hey, what do we want? Well, we don't want the floor, we don't want the wall, conduits potentially, equipment loose, and we can sort of say, hey, let's do this, and then set ourselves to auto task, and that's definitely something we could do. I just don't like flying around with it, and it's more of a personal thing, and it's very easy as well that you can, like, accidentally, like, double tap things as well, so you got to be kind of careful when doing that. But we can just set ourselves to auto task for the moment, put it on high speed. There we are. We've got a low pressure setting. Let's potentially cancel the action, go to the control panel here. We'll maybe just turn this N2 alarm off for the moment. Yeah, there we go. Turn that off for just now. We'll go to our O2 alarm. We can't actually physically get to our O2 alarm. There we go. So let's turn you off. We'll have to, much like our sort of proximity alerts, we're going to have to remember to put these back on. That's okay. We're just doing this until we get to the point where this compartment's more, or has less gas in it than it currently does. And that's slowly but surely happening. Just might take a little bit of time. That's okay. We've got plenty of time. At least when we're docked here, we're not currently, you know, having to worry about docking fees. We've got plenty of O2 in stock. Our battery is slowly draining, but not too badly. We can always get a charge for that as well, potentially down the line. But yeah, the gas pressure slowly but surely just dropping ever so slightly away, and that's okay. And what, I mean, to be honest, it's like, what, 5 kilograms of oxygen? We have 400 there. It's more than nitrogen, actually, but we can always swap around with one of these tanks. Are any of these tanks better? Not really. We've got a lot of nitrogen gas in these RCS tanks, but I don't really want to get rid of them if possible. But it's okay. We can spend some time, we're just, you know, going around, we're repairing our ship, we're making sure things are a-okay, not so damaged, and that we've got things going quite well. I mainly want to get this bay in because it's a place we can, like, actually store some other stuff as well. Like, store something sort of like our loose things that are currently kind of like, you know, on the floor at the moment. It'd be nice to kind of get rid of them a little bit. There we go, yeah. Restore the bin, restore the rack, make sure things are looking nice. We want to try and make sure that our ship is looking as good as possible. Now, the one thing we do have to potentially be a little bit wary of is that we obviously have this battery, all right, but this battery only has 1 hour of charge left, and charge does cost a little bit of money. Now, I thought I told you not to restore the floor, but maybe that's just been hidden. Right, let's just hide our PDA just now. That's fine. Switch you off auto task for the moment, and we'll kind of come out. How are we doing in our compartment? Still have a fair bit of gas, but you know what? I think time is ticking. We don't have all day. Let's open up the airlock, open up the other airlock. There's going to be a little bit of a woomph as the gas kind of starts to exit the ship, but there shouldn't be any kind of like issue with anything else. I guess also we could probably just close that and just see what happens. It's going to take us a little while because we're going to need to uninstall all these floors. So like there is going to be a little bit of stuff there. And fortunately there doesn't seem to be any sort of thing which will mean that so that you don't get sucked through anything as of yet, which is nice because we obviously don't want that happening because that could lead to some horrible stories of people getting kind of sucked through varying pressures. I'm sure I don't have to go into any further detail, or if I do, then I forget what it was like. Some people in a, was it the like bell diving kind of thing, or it wasn't even bell dive, it was like oil guys, welders, underwater welders that were like working. I cannot remember for the life of me the actual name of the incident that happened, but it was not good. Let's put it that way. Let's pick up this. And why are you unhappy currently? Is it because of this bin, or potentially because of the actual airlock itself? If it's because of the airlock, that is very annoying. Yeah, because we can't actually install that. Okay, what we could maybe do though, is it doesn't seem to be annoyed over here, is we can potentially move it down and install it in the actual place. I kind of wanted to put it here just so we'd have like a storage area that we could use, because yeah, you're really not happy about being next to that airlock. That's okay. What we'll do instead is we will drop you here. We'll unfortunately have to reinstall the floor, but that's okay. We can do that fairly quickly. So let's just install that. There we go. Unable to comply with that, but that's okay. You should be able to comply with that soon enough. And then we want to install over here. We want to... I see you're currently doing that action. So the other way we can do it is we can install here with our hull option. We can go to floor. We can just say, hey, yeah, let's just add the floor in here, and then switch you on to auto task, and you should now be working away. There we go. Working away, reinstalling the floor back in position. That should get our hull integrity back, especially once we get this bit here. We're currently... Oh, something is happening here. Potential proximity alarm of something. Let's just double check our nav station and see what's happening. So there was a ship that was flying by, however, we're a-okay. Things are all right, so we don't have to worry about that. Now we should have our last... Yep, there we go. So we're installing the floor now. That's good. Let's get you done and dusted. There we go. And now you should be able to install the floor there. Good. All right, and then we're restoring some floors as well, which is, yeah, you know, as we do. It's okay. So yeah, we're gonna... No, I will potentially have to move the switch as well. See, this is where things get a little bit messy when you don't have much room. You know, you need to move things. So if we uninstall this switch, and we potentially put that where that conduit is just now. So say for example, but we'll have to move things first before we can even put that there. So let's bring this pump up. Probably should have actually done this before we started bringing stuff back, but I just wasn't really thinking at the time. Now we still need to get the conduit up, so let's uninstall the conduit. There we go. And we'll just pick you up. Install this switch. Now we want you to be like this, just so we can like turn things on and off. There we are. Good stuff. And we want you to be on. Fortunately, there won't be any kind of like power surge or anything like that, so when we put this conduit in here, it should still be fine. There we go. So now, yeah, we should still be charging things a-okay. It does indeed look like we are. Yeah, good stuff. This battery was mildly hit there by that charge as I had to take over, and you can actually see that little bit of time that it took to swap over the battery. That's really a backup battery, this one here. We've got to be very careful of that. Potentially even the switch needs to be changed so that this one doesn't get open until we say to. Now, where were we? We've got to uninstall this floor, so let's get to it. Hopefully shouldn't take too long. But yeah, uninstall that floor. We'll uninstall this floor. There's just lots of stuff on top of each other, which is a little bit annoying. Not uninstall. We want to Well, it's probably actually safer to just do things one at a time, but I suppose there's not really anything here, so we can just say, hey, only toggle floors. We want to go boom, 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 and then get yourself to your tasks and get to work. There we go, picking up these floors, bring them out. We're over there and we're starting to repair things. Let's get this bay, cancel the action, we'll pick you up. We want to install you, and now, there we go, you're much happier now. So I guess this is where we can probably pop a lot of our like internal stuff here. And this will be pretty good. We're going to have another issue if we ever want to uninstall this or change this about. But this should give us a whole bunch of extra inventory storage here. There we go. Perfect time for an autosave as well. Now, I don't believe... No, we can put these things... I wasn't entirely sure if we could. Now, that is fantastic. That's going to really help us with our storage. Can we put pumps in there then? We can indeed. Okay. Pretty much a game changer then. I didn't think you could put the larger components in this, but we can now really kind of free up our deck. We leave the bins to kind of hold the smaller things. We can now put much bigger salvage in here. So like, for example, we could pick up this pump and we could just chuck that in here as well. And now all of a sudden, that entire room full of pumps, full of oxygen tanks and nitrogen tanks is now inside our ship. Oh, that's going to be pretty huge. Now, what we want to do is we want to make sure that we kind of get our ship back to normal operating procedure, and just to purely make sure as well that we are airtight, which we should be. Let's get the alarm back on for this, which is currently going, yeah, things are bad. Thermostat, you're saying we're too cold. You are indeed on. N2 alarm, let's turn you on. There we go. Yeah, everything is bad. That's all right. We know that. Let's head to this pump here. And we'll switch you off reverse, back onto auto. You can start to work as per normal. We've got that airlock closed. That's good. Open you up, change to reverse, put you to auto. There we go. We should start to see that the ship is refilling. And indeed it is. It's going to take a little bit of time, but that's okay. Time is something that we kind of have. And worst comes to worst, at least we have our spaceship. This is something we could never have done with our initial pressure suit. That's for sure. But actually, I guess that's a lie. We certainly could have. We just weren't going to last very long after that, if that makes sense. Can we stick you on here? We can. So we could actually grab this bag to sort of use stuff. Because we have like our gun there. We have a bunch of floorings there. We've got our extra battery that we have. And we've got our little data card here too. Now, I would really like, if we could, to have additional bins like this. I like little bins like this, just to kind of help us. I always feel they're really, really nice. Let's head on out, because what we want to do as well is we want to make sure that we close this other airlock to make sure that we're not going to be evacuating a bunch of our air into the ship. Yeah, and let's start just like uninstalling a bunch of these bins. I want to take these bins with us, just at the very least to start installing them around the ship. Same with the racks. I want to really improve our storage situation for sort of smaller goods things, so we can, I don't know, you know, have our like scrap electronics and our other such stuff, but we can't put them on the Testudo. The Testudo I always find is a little bit finicky with what you can and can't put on it, bins being one of them. But if we can at least put like other things like our various other kind of goods, so like our canisters and that, and our pumps especially, will be very, very nice. I think we just uninstall the rest of these, pop them on the dolly, and then see what else we can do. Yeah, that seems good. All the while, we're filling up our ship, and worst comes to worst, we can always fill it up when we get back to the station. And when we open up those doors, it can bring in a little bit of air from the station, that's for sure. But we shouldn't be having any kind of like major issues in the meantime. I mean, if we have a little look inside our helmet system here, we can see that our O2 stock is absolutely fine. Let's just kind of take that away. Our O2 stock is absolutely fine. Our battery is a-okay, and we can always swap that out if need be. We don't necessarily need the battery. It's always good to kind of like have a sort of heated and a bit there. Let's go ahead and we'll go into our dolly system and we'll kind of pop up new pumps in here. Now, one thing they have done as well is they have also added in a newer update. They've added in a notes app and a timer app, which is going to be very, very useful kind of going forward. Kind of really nice quality of life changes that the developers have made. You're going to love it when they kind of do stuff like that. Because, yeah, we can put this heat sink in here, but we can't put those bins in. I don't know if it's because those they can hold other things, and then it's like a That's the more I think about it, it's probably what it actually is. It's probably a way that the developer's done, so it's like you can't just have things in the bins and then put them in something else and then have more carrying capacity. A little bit annoying that you can't, you know, easily kind of push them about, but now I think about it, yeah, that does kind of make more sense. I would love to take this bed, but beds aren't particularly expensive. It would be nice to have somewhere to sleep, but we do have a area on the actual ship itself, or sorry, not the ship, the station that we could use. I think instead we maybe have a little look around and see if we can grab any of these thrusters. I mean, like, and potentially even think about, you know, just grab things like this. Motherboard here, we'll chuck that in. Heatsink we can always just chuck in there as well. Motor, probably kind of useful. And have a little look and see if we can find any kind of like useful, I don't want to say trash, but kind of like just useful junk. Sort of like spare parts, things that we can use. We don't need this thermostat, we don't need this N2 alarm. Let's go to make sure that we've definitely gotten everything out of this kind of nuclear area that's kind of valuable. Because all we've really got left is more of like a kind of hulk of a ship at the moment. And certainly I feel like everything, you're damaged, unfortunately. That's a very big shame. It's a very big shame. Yeah, we'll kind of go around here. Electronic parts we want to obviously pick up because we want to make sure that we have some of them spare in case we do kind of repairs or anything like that. And over here, we've obviously got the area that we kind of left, mechanical parts as well. We want to grab you. We left this kind of area open to space. That's fine. That was the idea when we took out that storage. Unfortunately, and in fact, I think there was already a small hole, if I remember correctly. Now, over here, you guys, I would really like to pick you up when we get a second, but let's just do like a little sweep around here. We'll maybe even just put our light down over here on the ground just to sort of keep this place lit up. And yeah, there's like, it's a big shame because it doesn't seem like there's many of like the thrusters or anything like that that are particularly easy to grab or in any kind of working order, really. Like, there's a couple of them that we could potentially try and see if we could restore, but I don't know how much that's use it's going to be. Yeah, okay, let's have a final look inside this sort of nuclear area. But I mean, we grab the switch. There is the battery here, which I mean is worth something, at least. The battery is worth something. There is, I never actually saw this backpack. Let's just have a little look inside you because you're kind of hidden there. What do you have? Small mechanical parts. Okay, we'll grab that. That's fine. You're worth a little bit of stuff, but not much. Inside this bin. I mean, yeah, another tool thing. Let's have a little look inside here. I don't think there's going to be anything in here. Nah, it doesn't look like it. Okay, yeah, so we've kind of got everything of like major value out already. Well, we'll have another little check on the left side, but I think of anything that's like easily salvageable, we've grabbed that. There doesn't seem to be a nav computer. There doesn't seem to be any other additional kind of like parts that we can grab that were particularly valuable. So I will grab, however, that motherboard. That's very nice. And we'll grab some more of those mechanical parts too. Ah, here we go. Here's a thruster that is actually worth its sauce. Thank goodness we put the lights on and we could actually see it. There is also this antenna, which is also working. So if we went ahead and broke our way outside, or either went around or just, you know, just dismantled maybe this wall here, we could certainly get inside there. So let's grab this thruster. We'll pop this in here. That's good. We'll grab this motherboard. Grab some more of these small electronic parts. Great. I don't think we'll be able to fit a whole antenna in here, but you know what? We'll just uninstall this wall just to open up this part of the ship. There we go. We can sit here and we can uninstall this antenna. There we go. Right, so now I don't think we'll be able to fit this on. We can if we get rid of you, but we'll have to grab the stuff again. All right, let's just leave you be then. Yeah, we'll just leave you there. I think that's as much as the dolly's really going to be realistically able to take. So that's fine. We'll head on back to our ship and we'll drop that off kind of in our main loading bay. There we go. Get you dropped off, little dolly. There we go. We've left a drink out, but that's okay. Cool. Yeah, and then in this bay we've got no more room. Well, we've got a little bit of room, but I guess we could always take one of these intakes, pick you up and chuck you in there. How are we looking for in terms of air? Still bad. Still pretty bad. These pumps don't seem to be working particularly quickly. probably one of the reasons. Well, I mean, you would kind of want these to be working particularly quickly, especially in the case that we've done what we've done, where we've just you know, hollowed out our ship of life support. Certainly the oxygen I would like to, you know, work a little bit faster, but it does seem to be taking its sweet time, which isn't ideal, sorry. But still, it's still going on. That's alright. Worst comes to worst, we can always chuck out this O2 canister and swap it out. It does seem like both of them are running a little bit low. That's okay. We'll worry about that when we get back to station. We might have just wasted a whole bunch of our O2. Not ideal. But still could be worse. Let's grab this bin. We'll try and bring this in somewhere. We'll have to have a little think about when we get back to port, about kind of refitting our ship a little bit. I mean, we could potentially also do this now in space, but it's just a little bit on the dangerous side. That's all. Would really like to get more of these bays. Right, let's go back up and grab that antenna. So at least we know that's working, and that should give us hopefully a little bit of money. I mean, this everything else is of questionable value, I think is what we would say. Unfortunately. Yeah, grab the antenna. It's like we can restore this stuff. This stuff can be actually worth some things. We could potentially try and recover some of these thrusters, like if we got some of the damaged stuff. Did we grab that antenna? Well, we did. We're actually just carrying it. 10 out of 10. Nice. So we'll just carry that about. Worst comes to worst, we can always just hold on to that. Let's grab this N2 can and we'll just chuck you over here. Although I don't think there's going to be enough space for you to really fit anywhere, which is a bit of a problem. I mean, maybe we just need to... Yeah, no, it's not going to happen. I think we're just going to have to hold on to this for a while. Not the worst thing. We've also got a motor in our other hand, which I'd prefer if we didn't. We can maybe chuck that in our backpack. Yeah, let's chuck you in here. Good stuff. Okay, what do we want to do from here? Let's have one... Well, first of all, let's go make sure we go pick up our light again, because we don't want to leave that behind. I also kind of really want to have like another like little look around the ship, grab all the bins that we want. We don't have many places to kind of store them in at the moment, but that's okay. We also don't have our toolkit with us because we left that behind, so that is also another problem. So let's go and grab our light first, then we'll go grab our toolkit. We can always just drag something else back to the ship. It'll be good to go. Yeah, grab you, pop you in here. Good stuff. Yeah, we kind of, I mean, other than potentially stuff that we've got out of the racks, you know, there's nothing really that valuable left, unfortunately. Crowbar. I stand corrected immediately. Alright, okay, let's, you're coming with us. No battery, admittedly. Oh, wow did I overlook that before. Woo. That is worth a lot. That's the, remember this laser torch thing I was talking about? We just found one. That's crazy. That's actually worth so many credits as well. And the fact that we nearly overlooked that because I was just like, oh yeah, you know, we've checked these racks. We didn't see it before. I must have just missed it. Another got power drill. Another check of this rack here. More motherboards and such. Not quite sure what this ship's designation was initially, but nonetheless, we seem to be all right. In here, potentially some kind of like repair barge or something like that. I'm not sure. Be interesting if we kind of like looked up the ship, so what they sort of said. I think we probably want to turn off this battery. Yeah, turn off this battery. We'll take. Now that we have this laser torch, I'm like, well, you know, that's kind of what we really want. We can always just turn this off. We'd have to actually disconnect the conduit to it, wouldn't we? Yeah, I mean, this switch isn't really connected to anything. Okay, let's uninstall this conduit. We need to actually have our thing on us, our toolkit, sorry. We need to go back to our dolly and grab that. Right, let's have a little look in here. Is there anywhere we can drop this laser torch off? Indeed, we should be able to over here. Good stuff. Oh, I love to see that. Such a wonderful thing to grab. This has been a really good place for us, actually. There we go. Right, let's go ahead. We've got our toolkit now. We should be able to go do this conduit now. Just to uninstall, and that should mean that the lights are now off. Indeed they are. Okay, let's grab this rack. We'll bring that over. Not the most wieldliest stuff, but nonetheless, we're getting things done. Now, I don't believe we'll be able to put this anywhere. As things stand, now we can't put it on top of the bay. That does make sense. And I mean, like, these racks in here, it's not going to work. Everything is kind of a bit too busy for it at the moment. Yeah, potentially bins that we want more than racks. Good for stowing things, but not exactly what we're needing just now. I think we just leave that behind. Now, where's our other bin that we had? There's these corner bins that I really like. So we will grab them. We'll see where we can pop them, because they don't hold much in terms of like the space. I mean, but at the same token, it's like they take up one space, you can store 2 items in it. Whereas usually you have one space, you can store 1 item in it. Just means we can maybe store a little bit less of sort of the bigger stuff, but that's where the under the ship bit comes in, because that can store our big stuff. Or certainly at least our stuff that we don't need to restore quite so quickly. Right, so where can we put you? I don't really want to put you over here. Can we pop you like over? We're kind of struggle to fit you in anywhere as well. Our ship's just so small is our major issue. It's like even here, like underneath these things, it's like flicks thrusters, it flicks all sorts. We might not even be able to fit you in either, which is much of a shame. Well, worst comes to worst, we can sell you, and maybe we'll just have to deal with our current storage predicaments for a while. As things stand, we're still struggling for our oxygen and such, but yeah, we'll be alright. I think we just call it quits here. We've got a good haul, got quite a lot of stuff to sell. I think we just head on back, and let's get another payday going. Alright, nothing personnel kit. Let's have a little quick look. We zoom on out. OK leg is on the correct side, which is good. Let's hail our current ship, undock, announcing undocking procedure. Off we go. Pulling away. Good stuff. Heading towards the K leg. Let's go back to us. Currently not doing too bad. We'll rotate ourselves around. A little bit too far there. Get ourselves around. Get ourselves heading back to the K leg. Good stuff, good stuff. Right. Remove our velocity, head on down. Plenty of delta V left. Running a little bit lower on the power reserve than I maybe would have liked. We're a little bit off kilter with our bridge as well. You can definitely feel that the ship definitely feels a little bit heavier. That's all I'm saying as well. Right, let's just minimize that relative velocity. Now, we've got to be a little bit careful with our trajectory in that we are currently aiming for the port as is. Double check, we've definitely got that off mute. Indeed we do. So much so that we kind of want to have a little bit of, as we're looking at it, starboard velocity, so we're coming away from the planet, because we want to try and get around and down like that, if possible, because this will probably, by the time, I mean, it's going to take us, what, like 10 minutes to get there? ETA about, yeah, 10 minutes. This is probably going to shift to about here. We don't want to be aiming directly at it, because then there'll be a planet or an asteroid kind of like between us and the station, so don't want that. What do we want to do now? Let's make sure that we've got these both repaired. Indeed we do. Fantastic. I would love to drop this antenna, but I cannot. Can we restore it in our inventory? I'm pretty sure we should be able to. Yes. Let's restore this up. Using up our battery is a little bit of a shame. Using up our O2 stock. Our O2 stock should last a long, long time, so nothing to worry about there. And in the meantime, we're at least doing some other stuff as well. Let's try these orders, because now that people have sort of said, hey, you can do this, let's try them out. Let's just say, hey, restore everything we can. Restore our dolly, restore all this stuff, you know, restoring all our kind of loose stuff. There we go. And set ourselves to auto task, and potentially this will work just fine. Now, even though we are currently in an area with no oxygen, we should have our PDA, so we should get an alarm coming through when we get within proximity of something, which will probably be the actual station itself. I probably should have actually spent the time. Let's have a little look at our nav station quickly. Cancel that action, because we could use our new timer. Have a little look. So yeah, here we go. ETA 4 minutes. So let's go ahead and let's set a little timer. So we'll set a timer for what would that be? So about 300 seconds. That'll be 5 minutes. Come on, basic maths. There we go. That'll do. 3 minutes, and then that should give us enough time to get back into the nav station, just in case we kind of start to overshoot or anything like that. It's a good time to go. Don't know if this will stop the time warp at all, but there we go. Got a proximity alarm before we had our timer, so that's good to know. Yeah, there we go. The Nothing Personnel Kid. We're still heading towards you. How far are we? Range. Oh, we've got a lot of lateral velocity, but that's okay. That's kind of to be expected. Let's try and cut some of that out. That should slowly but surely kind of like stop our issues that we currently have, but it's okay. Yep, that's fine. We can deal with that in a second. Right, let's get ourselves within 5 kilometers, and we will hail. Okay, leg. Let's get a docking. There we go. Requesting docking cleared. There we go. Cleared for close approach and a dock. So let's get ourselves moved around. This is going to be a little bit more of a tetchy landing, it must be said, just because we do have this sort of like lateral velocity. You can see there that the main controls are a little bit more unwieldy, but that's okay. We're coming in 2 kilometers away. Currently sitting out to be there within 16 seconds. We're going to start burning backwards. So we want to make sure that we're not coming in too hot. I like to get them to around about 50 meters. It's going to take a little bit longer, 20 seconds. That's okay. Give us the time to come in. Make sure that we're really lined up, ready to come on in. ETA, 8 seconds. Bring it back just a little bit so we can get that sweet spot of 150 meters. There we go. Clamps, engage, and here we are docking. Boom. Good stuff. All right. You'll have to see it. Okay. We are currently invisible. I do not believe that's supposed to happen. At least it's only us, so I wonder if that's something to do with us using the nav station there. We do still exist, I would hope so. But it appears that we are currently not there. Let's have a little sell of that antenna. That's looking good. And we can have a little look as well and see what else we have. We can see here that our fusion gray capacitor and our fusion laser array are both going to sell for quite a nice amount. Now inside here we can see as well all of our stuff here, so we can say, hey, we want to sell everything in here. Now we're not going to get everything that we need for this, but this means we can get out pretty immediately. I mean, this is another 20k. This is going pretty well so far, I'd actually say. What do we have in the testudo? Well, we've obviously got our thruster assembly and other stuff as well, so we can talk that if we want. Let's reset it, because I think what we actually want to do is we'll sell those 2 bins, because I don't think we'll be able to fit them on. Or at the very least, we're going to definitely struggle. We'll sell our antenna that we're currently carrying, and we will sell our laser array, our capacitor. They're like new, they're ready to be sold. Nothing else is kind of really there. I mean, I guess we could potentially sell off some of like our loose flooring. Yeah, let's do that just to kind of clear the space up. Still 10 grand, looking good. Let's sell that off. Accept. Boom. Another nice payday. Now, one thing I might do is I might, seeing as we're currently a ghost, you know, we might as well call ourselves Patrick Swayze. I think what we will do is we'll probably call the episode here, actually, because this is a bit of a funny ending, and hopefully on a relog this will help. Otherwise, give it a time for a couple of patches to hopefully fix this. But I just want to say big thank you to everyone for watching. Hopefully you've been enjoying Micah's tale, and we'll be continuing on, going on in the future as we get more and more money in for us. Just want to say big thanks to all members of the Burger Band supporting the channel, helping us get the videos out, and big thanks to everybody watching, everybody who's been enjoying the series so far, and hopefully we can get an even bigger payday next time. But until then, take care.